All right, team. Beautiful. All right, team. What's up? Happy Thursday. Welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show. I am Dr. Jeff Moore, currently serving as lead faculty in the spine division, teaching the cervical and lumbar spine courses, and having the privilege and pleasure to serve as the CEO of ICE. So great to be here. Thank you for being here on Leadership Thursday. And as always, whenever it's Leadership Thursday, it is Gut Check Thursday. So let's just do that first. So gut check this week, it looks simple, but I'm no longer willing to be deceived by what appears to be simple on these Gut Check Thursdays. But we've got a 12-minute AMRAP, so as many rounds as possible, as many rounds or reps as possible in 12 minutes. We've got increasing burpees by 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and onward. After each set of burpees, knocking out 7 air squats and 7 sit-ups. So should be pretty spicy as we get to higher numbers of burpees, seeing how many rounds we can get through in 12 minutes. No equipment necessary, so make sure everybody's getting after it. Please tag Ice Physio, hashtag Ice Train as always. We love tracking those threads and watching everybody get after it on Thursdays and then through the weekend. As far as courses coming up, before we jump in, I want to talk this morning about learning to love hard patients, but we've got a lot of great courses coming up. This weekend, we've got courses in Denver. Fitness Athlete is going to be out here. Fitness Athlete's also going to be up at Anchorage. I know that Alan and Mitch and the crew are heading up to Anchorage. I know Zach Long is coming here to Denver. I'll probably pass him heading out to Illinois myself. Bozeman, Montana, we've got Older Adult Live. And then next weekend, we've got Fitness Athlete Live in Fenton. That's the one time a year where the entire Fitness Athlete crew is together. So I know we've got a ton of folks signed up. It's going to be a great party there. They've got CrossFit Fenton right there to be able to house everybody. So that should be a blast. So if you want to join the whole CMFA crew in Fenton, do so next weekend. Online-wise, Justin Dunaway has Persistent Pain Management launching October 11th, which is Monday. So if you want to jump into Persistent Pain Management online, do so soon. Older Adult, it just sold out. Sorry, it's on the list. And then Older Adult Advanced Concepts is October 20th. So a lot of great stuff live and online. We're having 5 or 10 courses live across the country every weekend now. So everything is at absolutely full steam. All right. Learning to love hard patients. I know we've talked about this concept before, but it seems like it hasn't gotten sticky enough yet. So I just want to put it in everybody's mind, this idea of really falling in love with a challenging patient. Now, in order for this to make sense, we've all really got to sincerely agree on one thing, and that is our purpose is changing lives, not pain. We say that all the time, right? In every ICE course at some point, we're going to bring up this idea that our calling is bigger than someone's neck feeling better or back feeling better. It's the ability to really use the time we have with them to inspire them to legitimately lead a very different looking life. And by different, I definitely mean better, right? Making the changes around their sleep hygiene and incorporating stress modulation techniques and really looking at their diet and getting some of the nonsense out of there and doing the things that really go from, hey, my neck feels a bit better, to, oh my gosh, since we've been working together, my entire life is getting better. Like right down to my mental clarity. Like during the day, I'm not as foggy. Everything I'm doing, I seem to be doing better than I used to be able to do it. I'm doing it for longer and I've got more ability to sustain these endeavors. And I'm taking on physical challenges I thought that were a day gone by for me. And like, that's what we're looking for. What we're using the neck pain for, the back pain for, is the buy-in to these conversations that allow us to really fundamentally shift this needle. And it's needed to solve the pain, which is brilliant in some cases, but not in others. And this is where I want to make the argument that if you really have committed to changing lives, not pain, you should then be falling in love with the more complex patients, because they are your avenue into those conversations. Think about this. Compare in the cervical spine, managing cervical genic headache compared to managing a challenging radiculopathy patient. Think about how this goes. The steps to managing cervical genic headache to achieving success, you're going to mobilize the upper cervical spine and you're going to maybe try to encourage them to move a little bit more. Total treatments 4. Total lifestyle behaviors addressed, probably 1. Probably movement. You were probably able to use the idea of one of the causation factors or causative factors of cervicogenic headache is not moving enough, right? Prolonged static weight-bearing postures, if you want to pull from the IHS criteria. But the reason that is when someone's not moving very much, they're not getting a lot of good, healthy proprioceptive input into that trigeminal cervical nucleus from the proprioceptors in the upper cervical spine, and that tends to contribute to cervicogenic headache. The basis, the reason someone gets cervicogenic headache, the explanation of it, opens up a really nice door to talk about why moving more is better. And that certainly does get into one lifestyle behavior modulation. But that's really it. There's not a whole lot of other windows that treating cervicogenic headache naturally opens that allow you to be in the space of lifestyle behavior modification without having to kind of make a leap over there, which can sometimes be a little bit dicey. It's so much better when the thing you're treating naturally brings you over in that direction. So think about radiculopathy. Steps to achieve success, radiculopathy. Decrease chemical irritation around the nerve root. Well, there's your conversation about inflammation, right? In that person's system, in that person's life. Addressing programming issues or key impairments that probably brought this thing on. Oftentimes when folks come in with radic, they've got something they change they're doing, or maybe a movement they're doing differently, something we can really look in to how they're programming their fitness, how they're moving, a causative factor, relevant limitations up in that area that we can really dive into. We've got to restore nerve mobility tolerance, right? So that person, even once the pain has calmed down, their ULTT, their neural mobility excursion, is usually quite limited. So now we've got that whole phase of it. And then we've got to progress them back to full function. So we've got to help them reprogram, et cetera, so it doesn't happen again, whether it's an acute to chronic workload thing or a certain movement that they did in a certain way that brought this about. The point is, not only do you have so much more time, because you've got to do all that stuff. It's not treatments equals 4, interventions really circulates around one thing. It's this really involved process where you're doing different things at different time points to get the person to full resolution. But the topics that are inside of those steps also feed perfectly into lifestyle behavior conversations. So when we're talking about decreasing chemical irritation in the nerve root, when we're making this argument of maybe you don't go for the prednisone or the 800 milligrams of NSAIDs 5 times a day. Maybe we think about the way you're eating being one way to decrease inflammation. Maybe we think about targeting some of your stress levels as ways to decrease inflammation or increasing your deep sleep. The point is, these are natural conversations that are clearly a part of managing the radic that also happen to be incredible conversations to springboard into, well, how fit will you let me get you? Like now that we're off and running and you're telling me you can't believe not only does your neck feel better, but you feel better as a human, how far can we go? How much armor can we put around you? How invincible can we make you? Like now that you already feel better, how far do you want to take this thing? And these conversations are so natural because the complexity of the condition gave you the time and gave you the subject matter to be able to get into them. When you compare cervical radiculopathy to cervicogenic headache, if your purpose is honestly to change lives, not pain, cervical radiculopathy is the home run. Now take it one step further. Think about your persistent back pain patient. Think about someone who's got pretty legitimate chronic back pain. They've got all the things, right? Because they've had it for a really long time. Their stress levels are often very high. There's quite a bit of fear avoidance on board. You know their sleep patterns are a disaster. Now you've got all the things. So when you take all these really complex folks who begin to have maladaptive beliefs on top of what's going on from a physical perspective, now you can challenge those beliefs, which can start as challenging the beliefs to adjust the prognosis, to make sure that they're really on board with why the problem they're having is the problem they're having. But that is the springboard to, now that we're having conversations about psychology and your thoughts around movement, we can really think about this bigger, and now off we go. The more complex the patient, the longer you get to see them, the more opportunities naturally surface to change lives, not pain. If you're willing to actually shift your goal to changing lives, not pain, it is not the home run patient living in cervicogenic headache anymore. Your home run patient lives in persistent pain. Your home run patient lives in someone who's been a bunch of other spots, has had it for several months, and has a redic that not only has pain features, maybe even some pathological features, but certainly mobility features. All of those things. The more of those things the patient shows up with, the more natural doors you have into the entrance of healthy living behavior modification. And that, we are saying, is ultimately our goal. So my challenge to you all is to actually begin to believe that. If you're saying it's changing lives, not pain, the home run is not in the quick fix. You need these challenging conversations to naturally come up so that when the person makes adjustments, you can pour fuel on that fire. And someone can say to you, due to my time together, it's not just that my neck feels better. I legitimately think I'm living a better life. That is hard to achieve in cervicogenic headache. It is much easier to achieve in things that require more visits, more nuanced conversation, and things that feed this space more effectively. Fall in love with your hardest patients, because those are the ones where your actual mission can be best fulfilled. Give it some thought. I think we need perspective change. Thanks for being here on a Leadership Thursday. Thanks for always being here, podcast, live, however it is you jump in. We will see you this weekend. I'm hopping over to Peoria, Illinois. Cheryl Sparks, can't wait to hang out with you. Zach Morgan and I are going to be doing a 4-day class. So we're doing lumbar spine back-to-back at Bradley. So I actually need to catch this plane relatively soon, coming up here at 8 o'clock. Team, have a wonderful Thursday. I will see you all very soon.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.